Hello and welcome to this presentation. I'm going to give you a book presentation about the Blue Dog. The Blue Dog is written by Louis, and that is this person. He looks pretty nice to me. We needed to read this book for our exams. When I've got this book from the teacher, I thought it's pretty soon out because it is not feather or something. It's easy, it is small, it will be out soon. But it was not. I've done it in 3 weeks or something. That's pretty quick for me. I also don't like to read or something, and especially not English. But now the story is set in the 60s or something. You can know that because he talked a lot about the Snakers. The Snakers are a band or something from the 60s. I saved all of my money. And they never talked about internet or phones or something. The setting of the book is in Australia. That is the country where he come from and lives also. This story going about a boy called Mick. Mick is an 11-year-old boy who lives by his grandfather of his father's side. That is because his father is dead and the mother can't handle that's pretty sad for him. He founds a puppy in a time that is a little dog. You can know that it is pretty obvious, but it's a little dog. And you never guess that is the dog where this book is going about. When Mick was alone with his grandfather in the town, he find it difficult. That's because everywhere are strange people. I don't like them. I will not really have it easy. He liked it better when he found a dog. That is pretty obvious. I like dogs.
Nick is an 11-year-old boy who does become older in the book. He can be really sad at some moments, but when he found Blue, he became a lot happier. And when he used to know the place where he must live, yeah, he became happier too as a person, because at first he didn't like it there. And overall, he's just a curious and happy person eventually, and who had to live with his grandfather because his mom died. His father died, and his mom went a bit crazy about it, so he couldn't live with her anymore. So then he had to go and live with his grandfather in Australia, in the middle of nowhere. At first he didn't like that, and when he first came there, and he stepped out of the plane, he had to wait there for like a few hours because he didn't know where he had to go. Because last time he went there was when he was like 2 years old, and eventually his grandfather came to get him, and at first he didn't like to be there because it was in the middle of nowhere and he didn't have any friends there, and there almost were no kids, so he had to live with his grandfather alone almost, and with a few animals. His grandfather wanted to let the same life as his father did. So he had to do the same things. At a certain point, there was a big storm at the house of his grandfather, and then he had to. He was a bit scared because it was the first time he went through something like that. But when he went to search for the chickens, he didn't find them, but he found a puppy, a red-haired puppy, who was literally dying because and almost drowning because of the storm. And he took him and he named him Blue, which doesn't make sense because the dog's red. And after that, they became like best friends with a person and a dog. So, yeah.
For an English project, we had to read a book called Blue Dog. It's this book. It's written by Louis de Bernières. I don't know how to properly pronounce it, but it's probably French. The book is about a boy called Mick, and his dad died a couple of months before the book was written. His mom doesn't want to take care of him anymore because she's traumatized by a couple events that happened before with his dad, when his dad was still alive. So she sends him to Australia to go live with his grandpa, the dad of his dad. But he doesn't take care of him as well. So he's there on his own. It's very hard there because there aren't kids or whatever. It's just a lot of forest and barely people around. After a tornado, he finds a puppy covered in mud, and the puppy is almost drowning. So he saves it, and he covers it up and takes care of it, and they become inseparable friends. For me, the book was easy to read, even though I needed to look some words up. Because there are some difficult words in it, difficult sentences. Some sentences didn't make sense at all. But it was a good book. It's easy to read. It's also fun to read. It has a good storyline. It's not for kids, even though it's about a kid. It's not for kids though. It's more for young adults, because it's about how hard life can be when it's on. Yeah.
I found this book quite instructive. That's because he showed us that you can become from unhappy to happy very soon, because from it's very small, because a dog. I recommend the book if you like adventures, and when you're writing this book, it's going pretty fast. I've wrote my own script and I edit this video. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Have a nice day and una piuma di giorno.